And good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of The Guys Who Stare at Stats. I'm Cade Kennedy alongside Connor Gray. And Connor, how are you doing today?
Doing all right. Can't really complain.
That's good. That's good. I definitely can't complain. Today is a major day in The Guys Who Stares at Stats history because we've officially launched our own YouTube channel today. I'm proud to announce we have our own channel, link in the description. We already have a video up. We have a channel trailer if you want to watch that. Check it out. I made it and rushed in like 20 minutes before we got started today, so it probably looks terrible. But you know what? It already has more views than some of our actual podcasts do. So you know what? I'm happy with it. You can click there, go subscribe. It'll be a fun time. We'll slowly transition over to that channel. We'll keep uploading to NWTV7, but we'll slowly more and more exclusive content will appear on that channel instead. You know, maybe live reactions to something, maybe a recap or an interview. You never know what might pop up on that channel. So make sure to be subscribed to that as well. That's going to be important. The Guys Who Stare at Stats, keep an eye on that channel. It'll be a fun time. And I really, really hope you make the journey there with us. But that is enough of me telling you to go subscribe to more YouTube channels. Now it is time to get into the actual news, and we got to start with the ACC. This happened yesterday. They officially, and by they I mean the conference themselves, they're considering getting rid of divisions for their future college football seasons, even as early as 2023. This may be the last year we see the ACC with the coastal and Atlantic divisions they have set up. They're contemplating this change, and instead the format would be 3 permanent rivals for each team and 5 rotating opponents. So you would play every team in twice in your 4 years of being there, and once every 2 years. Miami's athletic director revealed the conference plans at spring meetings. There's not a vote yet or a proposal or anything. It's just an idea that's being floated around.
So basically from what we talked about before the show, basically the Carolina schools would pretty much protect their rivalries, and then pretty much everyone else, they'll put everyone else on a rotation.
That is the main thing, is that I think the Carolina schools wanted this a lot because you've had years where Wake Forest plays maybe NC State and Duke, but they don't get North Carolina, so they have to burn a non-conference game to play that game or something along those lines. So I can see why they want to do it. There's also talk they might modify it to 2 permanent rivals, 6 rotating teams. Like I said, I don't think the Carolina schools will go for that. No. And we know who runs the conference in the ACC. It's Old Tobacco Road. And so they want this because it'll be more parity among ACC teams, increased frequency of matchups, gives players more opponents in their career, more intriguing games at bigger TV markets, and they feel it'll be more consideration for the college football playoff as well. If you play more teams and can show your record a little bit more, maybe try to pair up matchups so that a team that was really good last year played a team that was also really good. So let's say, Virginia Tech gets back into the top 10. They can play Clemson week 1 or something like that instead of if they meet and, they're both duds or something like that. Trying to hype up matchups, I guess, is what they're looking at there.
So the one thing is like giving players more they play the same amount of opponents every year. They're going to be adding more games. Like, that makes no sense to say. If you're referring to, it's like there's no way they're referring to conference because you're playing the same amount of conference schedule. So that part doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think they do like the Big 12 did, where they do the 3-on, 3-off or something like that. Where in the old Big 12 days, I know would be, you would play Nebraska, Iowa State, Colorado for 3 years, and then they'd switch, and then they'd play Kansas State, Missouri. And they would rotate like that, which was always kind of dumb to a lot of people. It was just, why don't you flip them every other year so you could play everybody? But that's not what the Big 12 did. I don't know if the ACC follows that same model or not.
That's probably that type of model is probably what the Big 12 will do.
Yeah.
If they do set up divisions.
Yeah. Another reason they wanted to go ahead and do this is because this is what they did during COVID, and everyone saw it as a success. Just everybody play everybody. And
well, it's because you couldn't play any non-con.
You could play one. You could play your FCS team. You could
one.
Play Charleston Southern. You could play Furman.
So, of course, it's going to this totally worked. It's like you only played either one or no non-con. So, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they'll bring Notre Dame back, too, because I'm sure they'd love to be in the ACC.
Well, Notre Dame would have an easier time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they wouldn't have to play Ohio State.
Even
this
then,
year.
even though geographically it would be better if Notre Dame did not do that.
Yeah. And moving on to the next topic, the Big 12 softball tournament, where we're going to be tomorrow, live covering that. It's already underway. We already started with a extremely fun game, Iowa State-Baylor, 8-inning affair, just a great pitching duel. No one scores until the 6th inning. Baylor strikes. Iowa State responds on a wild pitch with 2 outs, scores in the bottom of the 7th, ties it, goes to extras, wins the game in the 8th. After Baylor had some questionable base running in the 8th, why do you send a person from second to home? They literally just hit a bloop like in the shallow center. Why did you do that? I don't know. I'm not the head coach. I'm not the skipper. I don't know what's going on there. But Iowa State takes that one. Oklahoma State playing Kansas right now, and that is currently 2-0 Oklahoma State heading into the top of the 7th. If they can hold on and beat Kansas, I mean, it's Kansas, not to be mean or anything, but it's Kansas.
It's Kansas.
It's Kansas, and it's not basketball, so they're not as big of a threat. You never know. Something random might happen in that game. We'll keep an eye on that for you. And then the final game tonight in Oklahoma City at 6 o'clock, Texas plays Texas Tech. Winner of that one will play the winner of this Oklahoma State-Kansas game. And it's set up tomorrow. Oklahoma will play Iowa State at 1 o'clock in Oklahoma City. And at 4 o'clock, you'll get the more than likely Oklahoma State-Texas matchup is what I think will happen. I really don't see a way that it doesn't. But, I mean, you never know. And then Saturday, May 14th, 2 o'clock, championship game. Should be a fun time. That one will be on ESPN, too.
And it's not really much of a knock on wood scenario. It's like we know OU's going to make it to the title game. It's just a matter of who are they going to play, OSU or Texas.
Yeah, that's the main thing is if Oklahoma loses to Iowa State, first of all, something has gone wrong.
I think I would probably question what was going on, what the coaching and players were doing the night before.
Yeah, so that'd be one of those where I think you'd see a lot of concerned OU fans like, please explain. I don't understand. Please explain. We need answers for this. Don't do that ever again. And we see here Kansas trying to get something going, live reacting to this a little bit. They keep fouling off. So, like I said, when that game goes final, we'll get an update for it. But now that is out of the way, we've talked about those 3 things. It's time to get into the NBA. Get a little bit of a recap from what happened Tuesday and Wednesday, a.k.a. Tuesday was a day of we all thought Philadelphia would have a big bounce-back game. We thought, okay, this is where they get their act together. Miami had other plans. The Heat come out with a 120-85 just domination. Embiid's held to 17 points. I know he got re-injured in that game. There's an awkward situation with Embiid and Dwayne Dedmon where Dedmon swipes at the ball and it bounces off Embiid's face, and you see his mask pop off and readjust and slap him in the face, basically. And so Embiid kind of the debate I heard was like, well, was Embiid just injured, or was it because he didn't win MVP? He wasn't playing well, which I think that's a bit laughable.
That's a bit laughable because the last couple of the games Philly won, he played really well.
Yeah, I think that was just kind of trying to find a narrative there. I didn't really think anything about it. Jimmy Butler only to score 23 in this one, so
it does help when he doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be just him.
I mean, yeah, life is a lot easier for Miami when you have help. Life's easier for everyone when you got help. Same thing could be said about Phoenix with their 110-80 demolition of Dallas. Dallas, I'm going to tell you, first half went well. Things were going fine. Second half, Phoenix realized if you just play straight up man and just do not double Luka and let him struggle out there and play iso ball, they can't do anything. This is what Utah was able to do when Luka wasn't there. They just put pressure on someone, and it worked well. And then Utah forgot how to do it. Phoenix, for some reason, didn't do it. They did it in games 1 and 2 for a little bit, and then Dallas adjusted. But this is critical time now for both the Sixers and the Mavs. You're down to your last game potentially. You never know what's going to happen in these, but 2 blowouts on Tuesday night. And then we get to Wednesday, and Milwaukee and Boston in another insanely good playoff game between these two. Milwaukee getting some big plays from Drew Holiday and Giannis at the end, and the Bucks steal a 110-107 game in the Garden.
Yep, and just Milwaukee, when it mattered, you had Drew Holiday step up and do what he is being paid to be a really good defensive player, and obviously can't stop. You're not going to stop Giannis. He's going to drop 40 on you no matter what.
The only way you're stopping Giannis is to get him to the free throw line. Celtics were able to do that, and then they gave up an offensive rebound. And then it was like, okay, what are you guys doing? And then Marcus Smart with 2 really bad turnovers there at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Just, you don't like to see that for him, but if you're a Milwaukee fan, you're loving life right now. And then, speaking of loving life, Memphis fans were on one yesterday. The Warriors came in. Steph Curry said they're going to whoop them. That was his exact quote. And Memphis had other plans. 134-99. Grizzlies led by as many as 55 points in this game. We also got a really fun moment where Draymond Green started celebrating with the Memphis players, and it was really awkward. Where he's out there waving his rally towel with them and everything, and Curry's just sitting there dead inside, and it's just like, okay, this is a new one. I really don't know how to feel about this, but Memphis is doing Memphis things, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Warrior, it's like Clay and Steph did not, once again, not play well overall. Like, they're not scoring like they should. And Memphis just doing what they're supposed doing, just putting their, basically just beating them up. And it's like, it's like, if you're the Warriors, you should never have said anything. You might have been up 3-1, but Memphis is gonna, like, all right, let's actually do this.
Yeah, Mike and Perkins saying Memphis didn't get the memo. Yeah, they didn't lay down and die. They did the exact opposite. And now, as always, the Warriors had a 3-1 lead. They lose Game 5 in pretty bad fashion, and I'm already seeing the 3-1 memes start to come back out of the woodwork. Keep in mind, they still have Game 6 at home, and the Memphis is still without their best player. But, I mean, that means nothing at this point. We've seen how Memphis has played their last 2 games without Morant.
Golden State has played, overall, in regards to their shooting, has played 2 overall bad games.
Yeah.
Yet they won one of them because Memphis just wasn't capable of putting them out of their misery. And then Memphis finally does it in Game 5. So if Golden State once again plays like this, Memphis will take the opportunity to eat it up, and they will take Game 6 if that happens. That's not a prediction yet, but that's basically, you can't rely on Golden State to do that.
Yeah, we'll get there on the predicting it a little bit, but and by a little bit I mean actually right now. We're going to jump right into it. In just about 45 minutes, Philadelphia, Miami, Game 6. Sixers are a 2-point favorite in this one. Embiid's still playing, of course. That injury didn't bother him enough to get him out of the game. Kyle Lowry, once again, not going to play for the Heat. That has not really been a problem for Miami this entire series.
Not really.
Some people would say that's been a benefit to Miami this series to not have Kyle Lowry playing. Sixers, though, at home, just the way they play at home. Their role players play a lot better at home. Danny Green, I think, will go off a little bit. Tyrese Maxey will have a good game. I like Philadelphia to win this one. 2 points spread. I think they can cover that.
I mean, as long as Embiid doesn't have to go out, even if it's temporary during the game, he's got to be playing as much as he can, because he's a factor regardless. That's a guy. He's always gonna overall play well. Shooting percentage will always be high for him because post players usually have a higher percentage. But that's a guy you don't need down, and especially you need him playing good if everyone else is not playing better than him. Like, you need, like, Harden and Danny Green need to shoot like they can.
Yeah.
Especially Harden, he needs to shoot like he can.
Yeah, so if he can go out there and drop 31 like he did in Game 4, if he can go out there and play like his old self, even just giving 20, 25 a night, which he's been doing at times, if you've got to have a decent amount of people to beat Miami. You can't do this with 1 or 2 guys.
Yep. So, basically, I think for this one, as much I really like Philly, but I think I'm going to pick Miami.
Alrighty. So, not a bad choice. There really is no bad choice in any of these.
No.
That's the fun part about the playoffs. Who really knows at this point? People said, the Lakers were going to win the title this year. No one knows what they're talking about. And then, speaking of no one knowing what they're talking about, Phoenix and Dallas. This series has so many twists and turns. We started with Suns in 4. Mavs are literally worse than the Pelicans. Jose Alvarado better than Luka. Luka, who I don't know where that narrative came from, but you know what? Okay, Phoenix fans, y'all need to chill.
NBA fans whack, though.
NBA Twitter is undefeated, but also Ofer at the same time. That website, it's a great time. It's a great time. But Dallas came back, won Game 3 and 4. All of a sudden, we got a series. And then Phoenix comes back with a hammering Game 5 victory. Dallas, 2-point underdogs at home. Suns have a pretty good shot at this, and it wouldn't surprise me if they won tonight. I think DeAndre Ayton's going to have a big game. The Suns were able to utilize him a lot more in Game 5. Devin Booker and Chris Paul will continue to play well. The Suns bench, I think, will continue to play well. Jay Crowder and Cam Johnson just doing their thing. Jay Crowder not off the bench, but he could come off the bench at any time, and it wouldn't surprise me. I liked the Suns' adjustments of putting Bismack Biyombo in place of JaVale McGee. I think he's a high-energy guy and can run the floor, can do whatever you need to. And I also liked taking Cam Payne out and giving Landry Shamet more minutes. I think that worked pretty well. He played a lot better defensively than I expected him to play. Now for Dallas, it's going to be a battle. You're going to have to get shooters open. That's going to be the main thing for Dallas. Can you get a Spencer Dinwiddie open? Can you get a Reggie Bullock, a Dorian Finney-Smith, a Maxi Kleba, anybody, even Bertans, anybody? I'm asking for two guys to get open.
No.
I mean, if that can happen, I think Dallas has a shot. I think they will win this game. Dallas at home is a way better team than Dallas on the road. Am I biased about this too? Yes. But I think Dallas wins this one, and we get 2 Game 6 series that go to a Game 7 tonight.
I think, like you said obviously Dallas plays better. It's like, well, yeah, they've played much better basketball at home than they have on the road overall. I mean, no team has won on the road so far. But and you've already broke down this entire game already, so I don't need to really add anything. But all I'm going to say is that I think the Suns will actually steal one in Dallas.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Dallas just comes out and just wilts in the first quarter and this one's over. But I think Dallas will play a little bit better. Maybe we'll finally see Luka that we saw against the Clippers in the playoffs, and he'll come out and drop like 45 or something. I don't know. I would enjoy it a whole lot if he did that. And then moving on to the Friday night game, 6:30 ESPN. Tomorrow night, this is Boston-Milwaukee, Game 6. Bucks were able to take one. And we don't even have a spread for this yet. That's Vegas not wanting to make any picks or anything right now. I don't know what they're doing out there.
Probably just too worried about other things.
Yeah, we're worried about life out there. I don't know, trying to figure out how the Kentucky Derby bets went, and I'm still broken about that. I don't know. But I'm going to say Milwaukee will probably be the favorite in this one, just judging by how this series has gone. Bucks are up 3-2. They have momentum. It doesn't matter that Chris Middleton is out. This team is winning anyways. And I really do think Milwaukee's going to get this series done. I think the Bucks have been able to make the right adjustments. Drew Holiday playing a lot better defensively. He's got to be that guy. He's got to be the defensive leader of this team. I think Giannis will have another big game. When does he not? If you can get a Bobby Portis to continue playing high energy, Brook Lopez has been playing some good interior defense. I think if the Bucks can continue to do that, they can win this. However, you have to be ready to stop Tatum, Brown, and now Al Horford. If you can't stop those three, if you let one of them get loose, the whole plan could fall apart because the Celtics can turn this into a chess match at any time.
Pretty much. So, yep. Matchup-wise, obviously they're pretty much deadlocked because either team can win anywhere, whether it be at home or on the road, as they've continuously traded games back and forth.
Yes, they will continue to trade games. This will be a 25-game series.
So, for this one, obviously, I'm pretty sure when the stuff comes out, it'll be favoring Milwaukee because it's favored the home team every time.
Yeah, it has.
But I think Milwaukee gets it done. I think Milwaukee finally beats the Boston Celtics, and I think they, near the end of the game, has some room to breathe.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Milwaukee takes care of this one. It might be another down to the wire one like we saw, but I think that was Boston's best effort, and Milwaukee still found a way to just snatch it from them.
Yep.
And that's a huge demoralizer. And moving on to what is turning into the meme series, I feel like. There have been so many random moments in this already with Warriors-Grizzlies. You had the whole breaking the code, that whole entire saga. which then turned into the Warriors saying they're going to whoop the Grizzlies. That didn't happen. Now you got Game 6. Still no John Morant, obviously. And I'm really wondering how this one's going to go because Memphis, I mean, they made the best adjustment which you can make, which is shoot over 50% from the field. If you do that, you're not going to lose unless you get outshot, which the Warriors would be the team to do it.
Warriors would be the team to do it. The problem is they haven't been able to do it.
No, that's been their problem is they have looked shaky a lot, and that's really weird to see for a Golden State team. This is definitely not the team they were 5 years ago, obviously, but I think Memphis, I don't want to call it, but I think Memphis will surprise Golden State here. I think the Warriors will come out with another slow start. We've seen that be typical of them the past few games, and I think it's all going to come down to how Memphis plays that first 5 minutes. If they come out like they did, and they play with their head on fire, and they just come out, score 10, 15 points in the first 5 minutes, and it's one of those like, oh, it's already near a double-digit game, Memphis might just run away with this one again. The Warriors have been playing terrible.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the way the series has overall been, I think obviously within the first few games, Golden State was shooting just fine.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, they slowly transitioned into not shooting as well, and then obviously game four really showed that they weren't really shooting very good, and Memphis wasn't really shooting bad. The issue is they weren't putting up enough shots to really do anything because it seemed like they just got the rock stolen or they just weren't playing overall well. So basically, if Memphis played just relatively better than they did in game four, they win that game.
Yeah.
But I think overall they were a much better team.
Yeah, I think Memphis has played a lot better games 4 and 5. The other thing, Golden State had nearly 20 turnovers in Game 5. Yeah. I don't think they do that again.
No.
But Draymond hasn't been playing the best. He's had a few bad passes. Clay and Curry, like I said, I don't know what happened to their confidence, man, but it is in a weird place. I think Clay's more fine than Curry is.
Yeah, Curry's confidence has been shoddy. Well, Clay's like, okay, I'll shoot it, but you can tell he's not shooting like he should.
Yep.
Though I don't think there's any difference in how they're shooting the ball, except for Curry, who's hesitating at times. But I think this is one where I think Memphis steals one, and this goes to Game 7.
I think so too. If you would have asked me like 4 days ago, I would have said, "Why are we talking about Game 6? This thing's over." But after how Games 4 and 5 went, my goodness, it is not going to be a good time. Andrew just texted me and wanted to know if we could do a show tomorrow, and that's kind of funny to me. After I don't know. Well, I could talk about him later on the show. I shouldn't be talking about it now. But moving on to the NHL, we've got some recapping to do. A lot of games to talk about that happened Tuesday and Wednesday. A lot of fun, a lot of heartbreak for some teams. Carolina starts it and just absolutely obliterates Boston again. I don't know what it is with this series. This is kind of the same way Boston and Milwaukee's going. Home teams undefeated, road teams get out of here. Carolina getting that 5-1 demolition. And then you get Tampa Bay, Toronto. Tampa Bay looks like Tampa Bay again. They scored 2 goals in the first 5 minutes. Everyone's playing well. This looks like the Bolts team we've seen the past few years. And then they just get punched in the mouth a few times by Toronto, and then all of a sudden, here come the Maple Leafs, the sentence I'm not used to saying in a positive light. And Toronto comes all the way back, ties the game up, and eventually takes a 4-3 lead and holds on for the win. And they're 1 game away. That's a matter of can they finish?
Can they finish it?
Yeah, that is their problem, and they put themselves in this position again. This has got to be torture for Maple Leafs fans, though. Obviously, they started the worst way possible, and then they finished the best way possible. You can't do that in Game 6 in Tampa because you go down 2-0, it's going to turn into 6-3 or something like that.
Yeah, Tampa's going to eat them alive. So if you're Toronto, you gotta get the lead and keep the lead. Typically, like any team, you should. But that's a case for Toronto because they let Tampa have any life or even tie it up or even take a 1-point lead, Tampa will jump on that and start going off on them.
Yeah, they absolutely will. And moving on to the next one, St. Louis taking on Minnesota. The Blues look like the Blues again. I
You're
was
a very happy boy.
It was either watch this or watch the Mavs die, and I will very much take the Blues winning instead of watching the Mavs, who at that point had given up a 17-0 run. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to watch this. St. Louis is on, and they're winning. And I went and watched the Blues and had a much more pleasant evening. And they got a 5-2 win over Minnesota. Right. Bennington's continuing to play well in the net. He looks like his old self again, and I love seeing it. Tarasenko getting a hat trick in the third period alone. Kaprizov for the Wild. I mean, he's just such a phenomenal player. He got 2 goals early on in this one. Everyone thought he's getting a hat trick. Well, a certain other Russian had things to say about it. And then moving on, I don't know if you saw the Kings-Oilers game, but I want to talk about this one because this is playoff hockey. This is the game to show someone a playoff hockey game. Kings come out, play a wonderful first and second period, play a good third period. They're up 3-1. Oilers score. 1 minute later, Kings score 4-2. Edmonton proceeds to go off over the next 3 minutes and score 2 goals to tie this thing up at 4, only for nothing to happen for 5 minutes, and then the Kings score 1 minute in overtime.
That's just how it works.
That is classic playoff hockey.
That is playoff hockey right there.
It was the most playoff hockey thing. I turn it off at 4-2 and go do something else. I come back and it's tied, and they're like, we're going to overtime, and I was like, what did I miss? What happened here? And I go back and scroll, and I was like, well, they really did just decide to just bull rush the goalie, and that worked somehow.
Yes.
Oh, let's just send 3 guys at him. Where are the Kings defenders? We don't know. They're gone. But congrats to the Kings getting this one. They're 1 game away going back home. And then we go to fight night at the Garden last night with the Rangers and the Pens. I don't know how much you saw of this one, but New York getting a 5-3 win. The main story, though, Sidney Crosby being hit in the head and falling down, having to get back up. He was out the rest of the game. This game got a lot chippier after that. It felt like there was a fight every minute or two.
Yeah, it's going to be like that because obviously Pitt is going to the Penguins are going to feel like, oh, that was a cheap shot on our leader.
Yeah.
Especially, it's like when you take out the top guy for a team, whether cheap shot or whatever, when you're obviously, because in hockey you're gonna hit people no matter what. You're gonna take shots regardless. That would be me almost every minute. But yeah, so you take out Crosby. Yeah, that's gonna the Penguins are gonna take that personal. But obviously it wasn't personal enough because they lost 5-3. But I think Rangers obviously we're playing some mind games with them.
I think so. I think the Rangers wanted to make this a more physical game. They, one of those, even if you lost the game, you're not going to lose the fight.
Yeah.
Type of moments. And, I mean, it worked for New York. They were able to come back and win. And the same thing kind of to be said.
They're not dead yet.
Yeah, they're not dead yet. They'll get a Game 6 in Pittsburgh, which I think is, it's always the worst possible scenario. Okay, we just injured, unintentionally, obviously, their best player. Oh, great, now we got to go back there.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to get a fun welcome there.
Yeah, that's going to be a hostile environment.
Yeah, it's Pittsburgh. It's always they're always mad about something.
Basically, any Pennsylvania team is always going to be hostile.
The Yinzers will rise, and it will be a wonderful smackdown of a game. I don't know. Maybe it'll turn to WWE. We've seen that already once.
ECW, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe AEW. I don't know. And Florida-Washington nearly had some of that same vitriol, I guess you could say, in this one towards the end. Caps go up 3-0. Life is looking good, and then here come the Panthers.
So Caps did what they usually do.
Yes, and for the 6th time this year, Florida has come back from a 3-goal or more deficit. This is the most in NHL history.
I've seen it too many times. I wasn't surprised by it at all. I mean, you can't. Caps just have. I don't know what's with. I know they're not the only team who's done it. Every team in hockey's done it all the time, but it's just infuriating because it's like the Caps have the ability to literally step on people's throats and finish it off. Instead, they're just like, no, we'll just let you come back and win this game. It's so infuriating.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be. It really has to be. But Florida, they play a phenomenal second and third period. They come back.
Yep.
And then you get some chippiness that starts. Florida starts playing mind games with them, starts trying to rough them up.
Yep.
Caps didn't like it. We nearly had a goal. We nearly had a goalie fight unintentionally because Bobrovsky for the Panthers, he saves it where the puck like bounces off his shoulder into the air and he like saves it with his shoulder pad. And then he nearly gets checked by this guy trying to score who nearly checks himself into the post. It was hilarious. And then a Panthers player runs by him. He says something, gets sucker punched, and then war starts.
Yeah,
and then everyone's fighting, and it was like, there's 30 seconds in the game. This is the most fight I've seen from the Caps since it was 3-0.
Exactly.
it made no sense. It was just like, you know what? That's hockey. There's nothing.
That's hockey for you.
Nothing else I could say about that other than that's hockey. And then Calgary, Dallas, battle of the Cowboys out here. Alberta versus Texas, and the Flames get this one 3-1. They played well. Another physical series. This one's been just pounding the entire time. And the Flames able to do what they wanted to do back home, 3-1. They also got to score in the first period, and it was the first time since what was the stat I saw when they scored? It was like the first time since period 1 of game 1 they scored at home. And I was like, dang, they are absolutely going for Calgary at the beginning of this game.
Yes.
So shout out to the ESPN stats team for that one.
Yep.
But moving on to the Thursday night games, starting in under half an hour now. Carolina, Boston, Game 6, 6 o'clock, TNT. Bruins are favored in this one. I mean, they should be. The home team's won every game in this series.
Yeah.
And I think it continues. I think the Bruins come back home, they regroup. This is what they continue to do. And so I think they get this one.
Yeah, I believe so. Obviously, just kind of just the way the series has gone, it's like you pretty much expect Boston to pull one out, and then they go to Game 7, and we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that one goes.
Game 7, it doesn't matter how the trend's going. It's fair game at that point.
Yeah, it is.
It's Game 7.
Yeah, it is. It'll be one of those interesting series for sure. Toronto, Tampa Bay, I think kind of the same thing. Lightning are favored in this one at home. Toronto trying to clinch a series. We've seen this scenario so many times before with the Maple Leafs. They're right there. Can they get it done? I don't think they will. I think Tampa's got one more left in them at home.
Yeah, I think Tampa will bring it out. I think it might be close right out the gate, but I think eventually Tampa is just going to overwhelm Toronto. That environment at home, Tampa is going to be too much for Toronto.
Yeah, I think so too. It'll be really fun to see. By the way, we got breaking news. They just released the Week 1 schedule for the NFL. We'll get to that in a minute. But
Alrighty.
Wild Blues, Game 6 tonight at 8:30. This is going to be another fun one. The Blues have been winning despite half their defensemen being injured. That's just been a fun storyline for me. You know, we're out here playing with minor leaguers and still winning. You know, you got to love that, especially in playoff time. You just come out and, just beat the best Minnesota team possibly ever assembled with some AHL guys. Just St. Louis things. I think it continues tonight. St. Louis is favored in this one. I think all momentum's been wheeling their way, and I think they're finally able to cap it off.
I think the Blues will pretty much put the Wild out of their misery. This is gonna be another hard-fought game, probably a really high-scoring one. But I think Blues will move on to the second round.
I think so too. I mean, it's going to be scary because Colorado awaits them.
I
don't like that.
Colorado.
Yeah, congrats, you won. What's my prize? The best team. Oh, yay! Thanks.
You guys will be fine.
Yeah, you better have flashbacks to getting swept last year and you beat 7-0.
You'll be fine.
We will not be fine. No one's fine playing Colorado. I mean, this is the time to play them. Colorado versus the second round is a notable NHL rivalry. It is a pretty entertaining one. Edmonton, however, is favored against the Kings, despite this being in L.A. and a Game 6. And everything seems to be going the Kings' way, but the Oilers are favored in this one. Which, I mean, doesn't surprise me. This has been a crazy series anyway. But I think, once again, I think this is kind of the momentum thing. I realize I'm picking all home teams here today, but I think LA finishes it off. Something tells me that was the Oilers' run that we saw on Tuesday night. That was their last mustered effort, and I think the Kings finish them off tonight.
Yeah, pretty much. I think LA overall has been playing better as a cohesive unit, and Oilers, you're pretty much relying on Connor McDavid to help to get you through it. But I think it's not going to be enough. Like Edmonton will be lucky if they get a sneaky victory tonight. They'll be lucky if they can get that, but I don't think it'll happen. I think LA will take Game 6.
Yep, I agree. And then moving on to Friday night games, Rangers Pens. Here we go. This is going to be an interesting one. Once again, we don't have favorites on this. I don't know what ESPN's website's doing today, but I think the Pens will probably be favored in this one, and it won't surprise me. Despite Crosby being a day-to-day, I think even if he doesn't play, they're going to be fired up enough about him not being there.
It's going to be chippy right out the gate. I wouldn't be surprised as soon as the puck drops, a fight breaks out.
I wouldn't be surprised if we do the line brawl. I would not be surprised by one. But I think the Pens come out, they play well, and they get the series and wrap it up.
Yep, I think Pitt, like we just talked about, the Penguins are going to be fired up. I think they're going to be more mentally ready for a fight, and I think they'll win that fight and close the series out.
I think so as well. As we move on to Panthers-Capitals, Game 6 on TBS tomorrow at 6:30. Don't know what's going to happen here in terms of spread-wise, but what I can tell you is that this should be another fun one. Washington still in it. I mean, after the way Game 5 and 4 went, I mean, some heartbreaking losses there for the Capitals, but I think they have a shot in this one still. As long as they have Ovechkin and company, they're always going to have a shot.
Yeah.
But I think the Panthers, it wouldn't surprise me if they did this again. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if Washington started out strong
here.
And then Florida slowly chips away, comes back, and wins this one.
And I'll slowly die on the inside.
Yeah, I think Florida comes back, wins the series, and we get to talk about it, and it'll be fun for me if the Blues win, or else it'll be the sad hour.
I'm going to continue being the homer. Caps win it.
Okay, there you go.
Caps win it. They go to Game 7.
Caps are going to win the Stanley Cup. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Connor predicted it. Just like our friend Josh, who said Niners going to the Super Bowl the entire year. And he ended up being more scarily accurate than we thought he would be. He got really close to being pretty 100%.
Just a little.
He was so close on it. And then Calgary-Dallas, Game 6 in the Big D. Stars trying to hold on to this series as long as they can. And I think with how physical this series is, this is another one that home teams have been doing really well in. I think Dallas keeps it. I think they get the home win and extend this one to a Game 7.
I think I'm going to go against that. I think Calgary will finally win the series in 6.
All right.
I think Calgary will be like, we do not want to go back to Calgary for Game 7, even though it would probably favor them. They would rather just not have to deal with it. So I think the Flames will be motivated to put the series out.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see how that is going to go. I believe we do have a final with Oklahoma State and Texas, if I can pull it up here.
Not Texas.
Or Oklahoma State. Well, it's going to be Oklahoma State, Texas.
I know it will be,
tomorrow,
but I'm just saying it's like that's not the game that's played.
Let me see here. I believe Oklahoma State won. Let me see if I can.
I think it was 2-0.
Yeah, let me see here if I can officially see the ending of it real quick. And there's the pitch. And okay, gosh dang it, they fouled it. Gosh darn you, ESPN Plus. All right, let me see if we can get an official final. And
no,
that was a ball.
Are they on 2 outs?
Yeah,
on where you have it.
Where I have it, that's 1 out. There's a swing and a miss there, so that's 2.
Okay, so the next one.
Okay, they're celebrating there. Okay, that's 0-2, 2 outs, and yeah, it was a pot. Yep, that was a fly out, and that is game.
Okay,
yep, Oklahoma State did win 2-0. So we do have an official final there. Oklahoma State did win 2-0 over Kansas.
He put a score.
Yeah, then Mike put a score. You didn't have to do that, Mike. I understand you trying to make it easier for us, and I appreciate that. He didn't have to do
He
that.
said something else.
Yeah, so it's been over 10 minutes. I understand that, Mike, but we've got NFL news coming in and everything, and I only have one monitor. I wish I had 5. This would be a lot nicer setup if we did, but, I don't think the state of Oklahoma is going to, hey, yeah, sure, here's $3 million for a podcast.
Hey,
We're
that's
gonna go
illegal.
crazy. At Governor Stitt, hit us up. That's all I'm saying. But moving on, finally time to talk about the NFL. People have been waiting on this thing all day at 7, and there you go. The Week 1 schedule is out. I really thought I was going to have to read this off my phone. Thank goodness I don't have to do that anymore. But
well, at least ESPN's on top of something.
Yeah, NFL is priority. That is true. It is. And so Thursday night, the NFL season will begin September 8th. Buffalo, Los Angeles, Bills, Rams. Boy, that is going to be fun. That is going to be an absolutely fun one.
That's one way to start. That's a good way to start.
Yeah. Get the defending champs at home versus the Bills.
America's
favorite underdog. They get their what-if scenario. What if we played the Rams? You never know. They might have done something crazy with it. And then once we get into Sunday, a lot of noon games as is tradition. We get New Orleans at Atlanta, fun rivalry there. San Francisco, Chicago. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, Week 1. I like it. Come out of the gate. How are the Steelers going to look? Here's the Bengals, who had a wild ride last year. And then Philadelphia, Detroit, Week 1. New England, Miami. They're getting the annual Patriots loss to the Dolphins early, I guess. I don't know there. Baltimore at the Jets.
$438?
Yeah, $438 already.
Just to watch the Jets get their butts kicked?
Hey, they're not watching the Jets. They're there to see Lamar Jackson. Future potential Hall of Famer. I don't know.
Every other, the highest for anyone else is the Chargers in Vegas for 156. Gee, good Lord.
Don't worry, it'll be more insane, I feel like.
It's like that price is going to probably drop, but it's like the fact that it's that high this early is really
You don't understand Zach Wilson's winning MVP. I guess. I don't know. We don't have any Jets fans to talk to here.
Wait, I wouldn't blame anyone for not being a Jets fan.
Yeah, I don't know if you should be a Jets fan. You probably need to take a lot of medicine to make sure you don't go insane. But
if your kid is
a Jets fan, let us know. Have them on.
If your kid is a Jets fan, that's child abuse right there.
Now, I'm not gonna say no to that. I'm gonna say, if you do know a Jets fan, please tell them they are loved and that football is not everything. Because it's the same thing for Giants fans. They all need help out there in New York.
The Giants fans can suffer.
Nah, I don't like that. They have some good people.
Nah.
They got Danny Dimes. He's funny. He was just a majestic gazelle, and then he fell down. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And then Jacksonville versus the Washington Commanders. The Commander debut at FedEx Field noon as well. They should go 1-0 in the Commanders era, beating Jacksonville. We'll talk about this again probably in September, but
yeah.
And then Cleveland, Carolina. Well, boy, this would have been a funnier matchup if Baker got traded there. Could you imagine that potential scenario? Baker having to go up against the team that let him go. Boy, that would be a fun scenario. But I don't know where he's going to go. No one does. I don't even think the Browns or Baker know. No one knows.
And I did tell you Carolina was going to go get a quarterback.
You did tell me that.
And you said, no, that's not going to happen. And then
they went with Matt Corral, of all people. They didn't go and get one in the first round, but they went and got one eventually.
It's because quarterbacks weren't highly touted, so obviously teams that eventually got those top quarterbacks didn't really need to worry about it. Which the gamble paid off.
Yeah,
because it's like obviously you're gambling on these teams not to take them, but it's like almost it was like only 3 or 4 teams really needed a quarterback. The worst thing is Seattle didn't really go out and get anyone.
No, they're happy with Drew Lock. I never thought I'd hear that phrase in the NFL.
I guess he works for their system.
They're happy with Lock out there. And then Indianapolis, Houston, that'll be a nice, fun divisional game at NRG. New York at Tennessee, the Giants and the Titans. That's a 3:25 game. Green Bay, Minnesota, that's always a fun one. Just anytime you get those two together, the old black and blue type of game in U.S. Bank Stadium, that'll be a good one. Kansas City going to Arizona to start the year.
That's a way to start it off.
That is a way to start off. Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown reunited. That's going to be a fun team to watch this year. And then Las Vegas and the Chargers as a 325 game as well. That is going to be an entertaining game as well. The AFC West is going to be so loaded, it's insane.
Now that the best divisions are the AFC West and the NFC West.
Yep, and then Tampa Bay, Dallas, Sunday Night Football. Got to put America's team on to see Tom Brady.
It's America's team, and also you got Tom Brady.
Yeah, the return of Tom Brady from his 1.5 months of retirement.
It was literally about just a month, and then he's like, "I'm back." I'm not gonna say that, but I'm back, people.
He's back, boys.
He's back. I'm back, boys.
Yeah, and then the Monday night game, truly the best thing you could have went for. Denver at Seattle. Russell Wilson goes right back to Seattle. It's like he never left.
He's going to get a standing ovation from the crowd.
He probably will. I wonder if there will be some people who are mad, though. I mean,
but there's going to be some people that are mad, but I think Seattle fans realized he was suffering under the team with the current group of guys in Seattle, and he just needed to go.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone was like, I think the consensus was that he needed to go to another team, and Seattle needed to kind of either rebuild or rework their team.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see from the Seahawks. This will be funny, though. I mean, we get the ultimate quarterback battle of Russell Wilson versus Drew Lock, but the roles are reversed from where they would be last year. I really wonder.
System-wise, I think Drew Lock will fit better in Seattle than he was given an unfair deal. Basically, he was coming in right after obviously he's one of the few quarterbacks that had to come after Peyton, and obviously the Denver was thinking that he's going to be. Like, they wanted him to be this and that, but it's like, he's good, but he's not that great.
Yeah.
Great overall. I always thought he was a decent quarterback. I just didn't think he was ever going to reach the heights that Peyton. I mean, that's already too much of a bar to set.
Yeah.
But I think a new change in environment for Drew Lock would help.
Yeah, I think it will. And plus, Seattle's going to be more of a run-first team anyway next year. So they're not going to force Lock to make a lot of weird throws that Denver was trying to do.
Yeah. So I think that will probably fit. Obviously, will fit Wilson much better since obviously he can sling it.
Yeah, I think Denver and Seattle both benefited. Seattle gets to finally do their rebuild. So that will be a fun Monday night game. I cannot wait for football to be back already. Let's see if they have anything else put out already. Did they leak it? Oh, they leaked the whole thing. Oh, gosh darn it. Why did you people do that? You're not supposed to reveal it for like another hour. They already leaked everything.
Good Lord.
Thursday night, we can go ahead and talk about it now, I guess. Thursday night, September 15th, Amazon Prime takes over, folks.
I at least have Amazon Prime.
Twitch plays NFL football, Patrick Mahomes, QB Sneak Edition. I don't know. Anything. I wish they had a Twitch plays football. That'd be the funniest thing in the world. Could you imagine if we got Pat Mahomes, what do you want him to do? Kneel 4 times. It's the first drive of the game. Kneel 4 times. Listen, everyone's going to kneel. Victory formation. We're all friends. 0-0 tie.
It's like
every game.
It's like I understand this is a way to obviously open it on streaming, more streaming opportunities, and obviously Prime, solid platform. But still, it's like I'd rather this be on TV, just regular TV.
Yeah, I understand why this happened, but
doesn't mean I like it.
I mean, I prefer it being on TV. But for people who don't like normal TV or cord cutters, this is a great deal for them. This is absolutely fantastic for them. And then Monday night, just going to throw it out there, you get a doubleheader of Monday nights. Tennessee Buffalo at 6:15 and Minnesota Philadelphia at 7:30 on ABC. So there you go. That'll be the Joe Buck and Aikman debut on Monday night for ABC of all people, which is going to be really neat to see as well.
They're not going to be on for week 1?
Or week 1's ESPN and ABC proper. I guess they'll do week 1 then Denver Seattle.
They'll have probably Chris Fowler and Herbstreit do the first.
Yeah,
they'll
do the weird split thing like they've been doing.
That makes a lot more sense.
And then of course preseason week 1. I saw the Hall of Fame game earlier. It's like going to be Jags and somebody. And then they have not revealed the rest of everything. So they've gotten the first 2 weeks revealed, and so that will be neat to see. And, of course, in an hour on ESPN2, they'll reveal everything. We're going to get out of here before that happens, though, because it is nearly NBA playoff time. So, as always, we thank you for tuning in. It has been a wonderful time on this show. We're happy with the new channel rollout. We'll put that link up again in chat for anybody who wants to check it out. Brand new YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that. You'll get more content. You'll see this episode again that you just watched. It'll pop up tonight. If you know anyone who obviously can't make it to our 5 o'clocks or 5:30s, whenever they are on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or even Mondays if we bring that back, you never know. Andrew and I might bring the Monday show back, or we might do a Monday afternoon. Who knows? I really don't at this point.
It just depends.
Yeah, it really does just depend. I mean, you'll see more live content. I might do some live reactions, Big 12 softball tournament, just as it happens. You know, since we'll be there, you might see Connor and I live reacting to some stuff there. And then we have so much content planned. It's going to be fun. We'll do some more live reactions, might do some NBA Finals reacts, Western Conference Finals, fun stuff like that. It is going to be a really fun time to be a part of this community, and I hope you continue the journey with us. So you can still follow us here on NWTV7 at whatever platform you want, but I will strongly encourage you to subscribe to the Guys Who Stare at Stats. For Connor Gray, I'm Cade Kennedy. Have a wonderful night, everybody.